I did it again, another month of game dev. However, this time it's not the same game jam I usually participate in. This time it's a game jam that's slightly closer to a more traditional jam. I entered the 30th Metroidvania month. It's a game jam that encourages people to develop a game within the Metroidvania formula. However, this time it's a whole new group and a whole new project. And it's done! The results are out and we finished the game, and you can go play it. For those with no attention span, just end the video and go play it right now. The links will be in the description. Otherwise, I'm going to show some of the progress stuff on the screen while I talk about my experience in the overall postmortem thing that I usually do. This time there was no pressure to post every single day, however I set a personal goal to post every other day. So I'll start things off with what worked, because that's a good place to give you an overview of what we started with. The simplest way to put it is we had 3 group members, each with a role. One programmer that provided the character controller and level design, I provided the visuals and the art direction, and the other provided the music and the sound design. Luckily, we all worked well together and each contributed our ideas as well as our skills. To emphasize what worked about this, is we all brought something to the table. A Metroidvania character controller was mostly figured out, I had a lot of sketches in my back pocket, and we had somebody with a significant amount of music experience in the type of atmosphere that we wanted to make. I recognize how lucky this is because I've been in plenty of groups that don't work out like this. But, not everything's perfectly peachy. Of course, I gotta mention what didn't work. Initially, everything worked fine, we had healthy habits, and I just shifted my scheduled time that I had for game dev to this project instead. It's important to me to limit my time in game dev or else I don't have time for other things I find important. I even ended up multitasking my birthday celebration. However, as much as I try to avoid this type of thing, I ended up getting caught up in what I thought the game could be, and we ended up spending a little bit more time and effort than we probably should have, and we overscoped quite a bit. This is, of course, referring to the jam part of the game jam, I get that. But I gotta recognize that some things probably suffered in quality and progress because of that. We definitely could have prioritized better, is what I'm saying. So, what would I change if I did this again? Well, hopefully better time management would better alleviate that previously mentioned problem. There's only so much you can do in a month, and you gotta decide pretty early what those things are. It really screams the need for a good plan. And that's a tough thing to ask, I know, but it's definitely better to have a solid laid out plan like I did for my last project, as opposed to just making things up as I go and just expecting whatever comes out of it. Even if it's not a game, it is what it is and whatever. At least we're going and then we can finish it after, no big deal. That's nice and I like doing that, however it really underestimates the value of getting something done. Now that we did and we submitted something that I'm actually pretty proud of, we get to have that sort of feeling of accomplishment, and I get to listen to everybody's feedback, and there's so many things we can change, and it really makes me want to work on it more. Not to mention getting to be a part of that community. The community is great. In fact, if you have some free time, I would recommend going through and playing some of these submissions in this game jam. There's a lot of gems in here, or at least some interesting concepts. Then you can keep an eye out for the Super Metroidvania month. I believe the idea there is that people can take their projects from this game jam and expand on them with a little bit more time. Meanwhile, while you do that, I'm not stopping game dev. I'm going to keep working on both this project and the project from the last game jam I was working on. For now, I'm posting on Blue Sky. I'm trying to keep committed to a somewhat consistent schedule of every other day. I'm just going to switch back and forth whatever project I feel like working on because I enjoy that luxury. So feel free to follow along if you like that kind of spontaneity or whatever else I decide to slip in between too. Okay, bye.